Building a product roadmap is incredibly hard. The moment you publish it, it is already outdated and you need to change it again. And no matter if you're a founder or a product designer or product manager, somehow you have to align everyone into one goal. What to build next, why is it important, and also how to build it. And this can be incredibly hard, and people use roadmaps, product roadmaps to do that. However, most of my clients that I work with don't really know how to do that, and that also makes my work as a designer way harder. So a bad roadmap not only means that people don't really know what to work on next and you cannot align them properly, it also means that the speed and the quality of the work will decline. So in this video I want to show you how I help my clients get their product roadmap together so I can also do a better job and they have more clarity, more structure, and also more speed in their development. I also created a template specifically for this in Notion, which at the end of the video I will share with you, and you can copy that by just clicking the link below. All right, let's get started. So let's talk about why roadmaps fail in the first place. And the main reason is because product people or founders, they create like a swim lane type of roadmap, and as soon as they create it, it gets outdated. Sometimes they create it on their own and no one even sees it. So there are a lot of things that can go wrong when it comes to road mapping. And let me even show you some example from a client. Yeah, as you can see here in the roadmap, everything that is red means that it is already past the deadline and you already should have been working on the next task, but they are still working on this. So it's very easy to have an outdated roadmap, and even if you try to update it all the time, it's really hard to know what to prioritize and how to keep everyone on the same board. And I would say one of the biggest issues why it happens so often that the clarity is just missing is because there is no clear product vision. So I will show you later how to actually build the product roadmap so that it makes sense and people stick to it. However, we have to get the product vision right first. So the template I created already comes with a roadmap and a product vision. And if we go into the product vision, you have some example for the statement, and below that you can clearly see how to draft one yourself and how to structure it. In the end, you want to answer things like, how does success actually look like for the whole company, not just for the product, who you're building it for, so for instance fast-moving teams or I don't know, startup customers, whatever you think makes sense, what ideas belong to the roadmap, and also what doesn't. And I think that's the most important thing about a roadmap, because what I really like about Whoop is they specifically said, hey, we don't want a screen on the Whoop wrist because we don't want to be a watch. Because as soon as you have a screen, you want to have a tracker, you want to have like a watch interface, you want to have integrations and so on. So they really want to stay clear and focused on their path, and that's a good and strong product vision. And this is the basis of a roadmap. Like you have to know where you're going before you actually build all the small pieces. So now that we have a product vision, I want to specifically mention why you actually need a roadmap. And the main goal of a roadmap is to align everyone. So if we go into this FigJam file here, you have the roadmap, and then there are a lot of other things that will and need to work with the roadmap. For instance, there is the vision that we just created coming from the founders, and this needs to be represented in the roadmap. You also have your go-to-market team that might sell features that you don't have yet, or the customer success that gets feature requests from the team. You have your users that can request features. You have some KPIs to fulfill, like we need to increase revenue. Okay, which features can tailor to that? And then you have the dev team that has a big say on how quickly and how much effort they can put into features. And all of those levers you have to somehow manage and align, and that is what the roadmap is for. So what makes a roadmap actually good? One of the main things is that instead of saying features, you focus on problems. Because problems you can solve, but features, they could be infinitely big or small. So for instance, here we have a roadmap and we have a table, and one of them is saying Zapier integration. This is really vague, like there are a lot of different ways how you can, or different quantities of how big and how much effort you can put into this. So this is not a good title for a roadmap item. What I like more is tracking expenses needs to be easier because it's tied to a problem that, hey, tracking expenses currently in our app is not good. How can we solve that? And as a designer, it's also good because I can think about how to solve that. I don't need to think about how to build a Zapier integration feature and how to design it in the interface. I can think about, okay, how can we solve that problem? And especially as a product designer who touches the whole product cycle, this is what you want in a startup. And then the second thing that really makes a roadmap good is that you don't just think in swim lanes like we have here, like the timeline. You need that sometimes, and I get it. For some customers, they have specific deadlines, and it's easy to track with with swim lanes. But what I really like more is the idea of now, next, and later. And I want to show you a clip about this specifically from Lenny's podcast.
We found out that no one was actually delivering the roadmap in the time frame that they were saying they were. So we're like, wait, if it's not just us who's not delivering the roadmap, and none of these better than us roadmap product managers are building the roadmap on time, what's the point of a roadmap? Why are we giving them a roadmap? So that's when we sat down, as myself and Simon, my co-founder at ProdPad, and we sat down and we came up with a 3-column roadmap: current, near-term, future, which became now, next, later.
So instead of setting fixed deadlines, we have priorities in terms of now, next, and later. And in this specific case, now means this quarter, next means next quarter, and later is we will do it eventually. And the cool thing about the template I created here is you not only have the now, next, later, but you also have the timelines. So you can still track and see your progress on a timeline basis, but you can manage the roadmap with now, next, and later. And what I also added here is if something is closing to the deadline, it will turn red, so you can immediately see, hey, there's an issue. Now let's look at how to actually create the roadmap. And you can use whatever tool you want. I've seen roadmaps in Miro, in FigJam, even on PowerPoint. I specifically chose to build this template in Notion because I'm most comfortable with Notion, and many of my clients are as well. So I always start with the product vision. You have the whole template and how to use it and how to create it here. And then for the roadmap. So how you should start is after you have the product vision, you go into the specific items, so the user stories. And there are already some created, they have a status, so the now, next, or later, and they are in planning. You have a due date and a start date, and this is how you can say where on the timeline they belong. You have a priority, and I only have high and low priority because if it's really a priority, then there's only one priority, not many. So everything that is not high priority should be low priority. And then you have an owner for each ticket. And here I created in a way that if you click new page, then you can create that from a template. And the template already comes with all the requirements and all the information that you want to add to that specific user story or to this specific roadmap item. So when you create a new one, you can use this template, and you have to add what the problem is to solve, why it matters, any evidence that you have. And in the beginning, this might be hard to fill out, but the more often you do it, the better you know which things can convince all the people that you need to convince and you need to align to make sure they trust this roadmap. So once you have that, I just created a new board view, and yeah, very simple. So the new one that we just created is in planning, and then you can drag them around however you want it, and they're sorted by priority. And then finally you have a very simple timeline and then a detailed timeline based on the area that you want them to have. So wish list, user experience, bugs. And then the one thing that you want to make sure is that everyone has access to it, including your users. But you cannot really show this to your users, or some companies do, some companies don't. But how you can actually give them access is by giving them a feature request form. You can also create that in Notion. I created a very simple one here for this template, and you can make this link public. They can fill it out and it will immediately land here in a table for you to prioritize. That way everyone has a say, and the job of a product owner, manager or founder even is to make sure what is the most important thing. All right, and now to the really interesting part. How can you actually make sure people stick to it? Because it's cool if you create it, but if it just sleeps there in your Notion page or wherever you created it and no one follows it, then yeah, it doesn't help anyone. So you can make people stick to it by actually involving them from the beginning. So tell everyone that you're creating a roadmap and give them the opportunity to add feedback, comments, whatever to the roadmap, and then also make sure you actually listen to and apply this feedback, because people will stop giving you feedback as soon as they realize that it doesn't actually matter. Then every time you meet and you align on the roadmap, you have to actually make sure that you explicitly decline something in order to say yes to something. So every time there's a yes, something else has to be no. The third tip is that the roadmap needs an owner. So someone who makes sure the roadmap is up to date and that everyone else is aligned on the roadmap. So the owner is responsible if anyone else had a different idea, different vision, and the clarity and the focus was not there. Then it's the roadmap owner's fault because they didn't make it clear to everyone. And then finally, after you have your owner, you just realign regularly. Some of my customers have a weekly meeting, some realign every time something changes in a roadmap. Depending on what works best for you, you can choose either one. But the important thing is that when something changes, discuss it, discuss the implications of it, and then adjust it properly. Because if the roadmap is not up to date, then people don't know how and when they should follow it, and it just creates a lot of chaos. At the end of the day, a product roadmap is not just a normal document, it's something your company needs to believe in. And if they do, you can move faster and with way more clarity, because everyone knows what to do next, how to do it, and what is coming up next. With that clarity, you can ship features in a week, you can move fast, and you can onboard clients all at the same time. So if you want to create a roadmap but without going through all the hassle of actually creating it, you can download the template I showed in this video below. It's free, you just have to give me your email. And if you want to have more videos like this, just let me know. I'll try to create good resources for startup founders and product managers out there. So hit the like and subscribe button, and hope to see you in the next one. Ciao.